Hello everyone, get comfortable and welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Alexis Nunes alongside Stevie Nicol and Shaka Hislop. Our Kay Murray and Ale Moreno will be joining us later on in the show because something big has happened in the Bundesliga. That's right, Bayern Munich for the first time this season have dropped points. More on that later. Right now, we're going to start in the Premier League. It's been a very eventful Saturday. Well, hands shaken in the end as Arsenal have to split the points with Sunderland. Just have a look at all of these records that kind of came tumbling, or all these streaks rather. A 10-game winning streak for Arsenal in all competitions snapped. 811-minute shutout streak snapped. We know how solid Arsenal's defense have been, and this is the first time that they're conceding 2 goals in 18 games. The last time they did that was back in May this year against Liverpool. So let's have a look at the top of the Premier League standings. Arsenal still very much in front, but Manchester City and Liverpool could definitely gain some ground on them. And as for Sunderland, they are still in the top 4. The Stadium of Light, I'm sure, was a very happy place. And someone who knows exactly how that feels is our Don Hutchison, who is joining us right now. Don, we'll get to you in a bit, but Stevie, I want to start with you because we just had a look at all of those stats, all of those streaks that Sunderland managed to do. How did they manage to do it when so many other teams have tried and failed to get at this Arsenal?
Well, they did it because they are as big and as strong and as physical as Arsenal are. I said a couple of weeks ago that I thought Arsenal were the most physical side in Europe. And today, Sunderland matched that. And that's why they got the point. You know, they didn't get the point because they tried to match up and play silky soccer. They did it because they played smart. Other than the equalising goal that Arsenal got, Sunderland didn't try and pass the ball out from the back. They used their brains. They got the ball forward. And when I say they got it forward, they didn't just boot it. They actually dropped balls in to Isidore, the centre forward, who was fantastic at holding the ball up. Gabriel and Saliba were all over him, but he held them off and then he played people in. I mean, in that first half, that was absolutely in the face of Arsenal, physically, mentally. I mean, I've never seen a first half with so many stoppages for head injuries. That tells you how physical this game was, and certainly what the majority of it was, which was balls in the air. And that absolutely played into Sunderland's hands. So Sunderland absolutely, I think, deserved the point in the end, but they got it because they had heart, they had soul, desire and fight, and they never at any stage let Arsenal bully them.
Heart, desire, soul, fight, all those things that Don Hutchison knows exactly what it's like when you wear that Sunderland badge on your chest. Don, how did Sunderland do this? Have we just seen a perfect blueprint for how you can take the game to Arsenal?
Correct. I think the only problem with that is there's not many teams in the Premier League that are willing to use that blueprint because everyone tries to play it from the back. As Stevie said, everyone's transfixed with goalkeepers playing at the centre-backs, going into midfield, taking chances. Sunderland just bypassed that. They went long. They played in the second half when they went 2-1 down. They actually played good football. They didn't just launch it in the box, but they played smart at the right times. I've never seen an Arsenal side so rattled. I think that's the takeaway from today's game. Arsenal were really rattled today. Now, I would give Arsenal a little bit of credit for standing up to Sunderland's fight because they showed their quality. They were willing to get the ball down and try and go toe-to-toe with Sunderland, match that fight. Then normally the cream rises to the top, and they got themselves in the lead with a Trossard brilliant finish. Then it was all about can Sunderland react, and then because I think Sunderland did, it forced Mikel Arteta into changes. He took midfield players off. He brought Mosquera on. He realised at 2-1 it was going to be a fight for 10-15 minutes at the end of the game. They just couldn't hold on. But I have to say, Sunderland were brilliant today. I mean, you know, styles make fights. It was contrasting styles, and Sunderland were brilliant, and the atmosphere was off the charts at the Stadium of Light. So, fantastic game of football to watch.
Yeah, that atmosphere, that stadium, you can hear it almost coming through the TV. But Shaka, from the Arsenal perspective, is it kind of a good or a bad thing that they suffer this sort of blow before the international break, that they can have time to regroup?
Listen, as ever with these things, time will tell. It's all about how you respond to kind of given the streak that Arsenal were on, not just in terms of winning, but in terms of keeping clean sheets. I know that's broken. How do you respond to that? This is an Arsenal team I still think are built to win the Premier League. It's still theirs to lose. But it's in these moments that this will be defined. How do you know regather your thoughts? How do you know go about your business as you did before? No, there are absolutely no suggestions that Arsenal are going to crumble because of this. Let's be honest. I thought it was an outstanding defensive performance by them, but similarly, I just thought Sunderland were very good on the day, and it was an outstanding game of football that both teams play their part in. You get a little bit, I don't want to say unlucky, because Ballard was deserving. Sunderland were deserving to take the lead in that.
It was a bit of a throwback, wasn't it?
It was. It was.
Good old days of football.
Aye. Sorry, Shaq.
No, to that point, I thought early in the game, Sunderland closed Arsenal down. I mean, the free kick came with a closing down, and then a foul on by Zubamendi that brought the free kick and then the goal. But I thought in that first half, Sunderland were the better team at closing the opponent down. We know Arsenal can do it, but I thought Sunderland were better than them at least in the first 45. And credit to Arteta, because come on the second half, the tables were completely reversed, and Arsenal were deserving of taking the lead. It's only as the game dragged on and you got later and later that Arsenal started to drop deeper and deeper. And then fourth official puts up 7 minutes and the Stadium of Light just erupts. And that was telling. I felt so much of that. Talk about the crowd playing its part. Sunderland, I thought, in the end, deserving of their point.
Arsenal should look at the big picture here. Now, Arteta, and like every other coach, thinks they're going to win every time they step on the field. But we know that's not realistic. That doesn't happen. And so you're going to drop points along the way. And if you're Arsenal and you're Arteta, you have to be rational about this. You dropped 2 points today because the opposition got 2 breaks when they needed it and you didn't. It's not about the structure was wrong. It's not about they were poor. It's not about anything other than Sunderland put some pressure on in their penalty box and got a couple of breaks with second balls. That's where the goals... Sunderland's goals didn't come from lovely, flowing, attacking football. You know, it was balls thrown in the box. And so, if you're Arteta, you've got to look at the big picture and just put this one down to, you know what? Every other team has got to go to Sunderland and face the same thing.
Yeah.
Today we didn't get the break. That shouldn't derail us from winning the Premier League title.
Well, Don, I know that Sunderland is one of your former 3,500 teams that you played for. And our producer, Mike, says 600. It's only the 600. Yeah. I exaggerated a little. Our producer, Mike, says that you were absolutely annoying him, telling him that this was going to be a difficult game for Arsenal. Arneda Manua also said the same thing. But you saw this coming, so this doesn't surprise you one bit, does it?
I did. I think Stevie and Shaka might have been on the show with Ali last week, and I said, this might be a test. And Ali Moreno laughed me off. He laughed me off thinking Arsenal were going to roll up or rock up to the Stadium Light and just turn them over. Chances are they probably were. On another day, they might have when Zubamendi hit the bar. But what I was trying to say in the context of the next 2 or 3, 4 games, a difficult away game at Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. So they've passed a little bit of a test by coming away with a point. The 3 games that they've coming up, which I was trying to allude to last week, 3 London derbies Arsenal have got. So after the international break, they've got to make sure, and I'm pretty sure Mikel Arteta will have eyes all across the world, hoping his players come back fit and strong for those 3 games. That's going to be the immediate test because, as Stevie said, when you evaluate what's happened early on in the context of the first part of the season, Arsenal passed some serious tests. You know, they had a really difficult fixture list. They passed one against Man City at home, only just. They passed one at St James's Park when they could have lost that game, could have drew the game, but won it in the end. That was an amazing test for them mentally, and they've been on a terrific run. Then they've had about 4 or 5 games where they were expected to win and did. Now the test starts to come for them. So can they shake it off? I think they will, but the 3 London derbies will be a huge test for them.
Well, we saw 4 goals overall in this one. Of course, the Ballard goal, as Shaka was saying, just a striker's finish, really, as good as you'll see. But the Trossard goal, Stevie, that one was a nice one.
Yeah, it was a beautiful goal. And you know, Arsenal, if there was one part of Arsenal's game today that wasn't quite on fire was the final third. Because they had plenty of the ball. Certainly, and definitely in the second half, they had Sunderland penned in. But they never really looked like breaking them down. That was the thing. And just that one occasion when the fullback didn't get close enough to Trossard, He drops his shoulder, he gets a yard, and then you saw the explosive finish. I mean, what a strike. The goalkeeper had no chance. And again, that's the beauty of Arsenal. You know, if you want to fight, they'll fight you. But if you give them anything, they'll take advantage of it. And they did it with the 2 goals. Saka took advantage of a giveaway, and Trossard took advantage of the one occasion where he wasn't closed down properly. But, yeah, what a finish.
The one complaint I'll have about Arsenal at this point, and I know I'm grabbing at straws here, is certainly domestically, Arsenal have not blown anybody out of the water. Domestically, it's always by a goal, no more than 2 goals. So even in the later stages, while Arsenal control the game so wonderfully well, one mistake, one bit of luck, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's game back on. Even at 2-0, team gets a goal in 85 minutes, and it's game back on. I would love to see Arsenal, and I think they play good enough football, to just absolutely batter somebody 3 or 4, game be over after 65, 70 minutes. But somehow, despite their dominance, they're just unable to do that domestically. They've done it in Europe, but just not against English opposition. Easy header from a tight angle.
All right, well, I just want to say that I predicted this correctly. I did go for a draw.
All right, well
done. Our producer's calling me Don right now. Anyways, Stevie, let me start with you on this one as well. Who would be happier or more satisfied with today's result?
Oh, my goodness.
It's an honest question.
I think at the end of the day, both of them have to be happy. Because Manchester United, at 1-0, you could not figure out where the Spurs goal was coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, you just couldn't.
Yeah.
And then in a blink of an eye, Spurs are 2-1 up. And so if you're Thomas Frank, you're going, how do we do this?
Yeah.
Because for 84 minutes, it took them 53 minutes to get a shot on top.
Yep.
Well, a shot at goal.
Yeah.
But then for Man United then to equalise, they both must feel as though, you know what, we'll take this. Because at one stage we had it, if you're United. At one stage we'd lost it if you're United. And then we get a point, and then Spurs, again, flip-flop. I think you've got to say both should be happy with a point.
I think right now the point feels great for Manchester United. But come Monday morning, they will recognise that they were the better of the 2 teams and should have won the game. This is not a great Spurs team.
No.
And I'm like Stevie, as this game went on, you had no idea what Spurs were going to do, where that goal was going to come from. My big criticism, Lamens lets the ball slip under his foot after, 3 minutes or whatever it is. From the ensuing corner, he actually slips, and Manchester United get away with it. And at no point do Spurs put him under any pressure. Young goalkeeper, 2 mistakes very early on, and you just allow him to settle down. And that kind of spoke to Spurs' lack of any kind of punch. And now, mind you, this is a Spurs team with 3 up front. In Johnson, Richarlison, and Koulibaly. And Xavi Simons sitting in behind. Yet still, as Stevie pointed out, 53 minutes before Lamens had to get his gloves dirty. After that...
And that was from Romero.
And after that initial kind of... I don't want to say nerviness, because Lamens really has been outstanding for Manchester United. But test him out. You know, you see these kind of unforced errors. Test him out. And at no point do Spurs do it. At no point do Spurs look like they could test him. And so all of a sudden, now you're Manchester United, and while you're scoring injury time to get a point, it feels great. I think come Monday morning, you sit down, and when the dust settles, you think, how on earth did we take all 3 points in?
Let's be honest. United didn't exactly test Vicario either.
True.
But they didn't have to. They were winning.
Yeah.
There you go. Don, why are Spurs struggling so much at home? You know, home is supposed to be a fortress.
I tell you what, it was one of the worst games of football I've seen since the Europa League final. 2 teams played in the same game.
I did say it was giving air of the Europa League final.
Honestly, it was so bad. I mean, I've never seen a Spurs side. I mean, all right, they were really put in their performance against Chelsea last week and got humiliated in that game. But I've never seen a Spurs side at home be so flat. Like, there was just nothing about them. There was no energy. There was no quality. You look at probably Romero and you look at Van de Ven. Those 2 are like top-class players. I'm starting to look at the Spurs squad thinking, where's the high-end players? Where's the top-class players? Because none of them produced today. There's plenty of youth, But that youth should have enthusiasm. That youth should have legs to run around and chase a game when you're 1-0 down and give the crowd something at home. It's almost like they just try to play fancy football and play nice football. And Tottenham fans don't want to see nice. When you're losing 1-0 against Man United and you're not showing any fight, take the Sunderland game today. Fantastic example from Sunderland, how they approached the game by willing to dig in, willing to go long ball. Dan Ballard willing to put your body and your head on the line. Robbie willing to take a knock off Gabriel, or the goalkeeper to try and force something over the line. Watching Spurs like the boys today, you're just thinking, they're just cruising to a 1-0 loss. Like, their home form's horrendous, and then somehow they turn it around thinking, how on earth are they going to come out winning this 2-1? So the 2-2, in a weird sort of way, feels like the right result because no one deserved to win it. It was just two bad sides who you can't trust struggling their way at a 2-2 draw. But the form at home is a massive worry for Thomas Frank.
Yeah, it is a massive worry indeed for Thomas Frank. And speaking of Thomas Frank, Stevie, when Xavi Simons was brought off and he was having a decent game, I suppose, up until that point.
By his standard.
By his standard. As we were saying, because we know anything was up at this point. But the crowd started to boo Thomas Frank's decision there. As a manager, how do you take this?
You can't let people sat behind you or a crowd of people in the stand dictate what you should and shouldn't do. And 100%, I'm with Thomas Frank. Why would you keep Xavi Simons on the field? Xavi Simons didn't. I mean, we're actually sitting here going, well, he was better. Well, hold on a second. For 72 mil? And his job is to supply the front players, correct? Mm-hmm. And we're sitting here telling you that they never had a shot at goal for 53 minutes, and it was from the centre-back. So what job is Xavi Simons doing? I don't understand what the Spurs fans were booing at. Because Thomas Frank, it would practically have not mattered who he took off. Somebody had to come off. Because what was going on the field wasn't getting Spurs anywhere. So this time it was Xavi Simons, and rightly so. He's paid to supply, he wasn't supplying, so take him off and put somebody on. And Odegaard, for example, Attell, both of them came on and made a difference. Mm-hmm. So why are you booing the manager? But to answer your question, if you start letting people sitting behind you, giving you earache and telling you what to do, or the crowd, you start listening to it, you're done.
Don, what did you make of it?
I found it bizarre because I'm not sure. I couldn't really get a handle on why they were booing. Were they booing the player that was going off, or the player that was coming on, or were they booing Thomas Frank? I couldn't really get a handle on it because they've given Xavi Simons a really rough time of late, especially in the Chelsea game last week. He didn't have a good game today, so I think I agree with Stevie. I think when you look at the bigger picture, because we don't know what's gone on. I mean, Thomas Frank come out after the game and more or less answered it and said, listen, when I make decisions, it's either to shore a game up, so I've got to bring defensive players on. If I'm trying to win a game, I need to chase it. So I think you have to trust the manager. But I think what you're realising, or what Thomas Frank is realising now, that there's a big step up in the culture difference between Brentford fans who were happy to have Thomas Frank, who trusted him with every single move he made. Now he's gone into Tottenham where it's a completely different ride. And it's very emotional at Tottenham. They demand wins, they demand performances, demand style. He's not going to find it easy. And I'm a huge fan of Thomas Frank, so I hope he succeeds.
Do you know the strange thing? At the end of this game, before the later kick-offs started, with this point today, Spurs were sitting third. Mm-hmm. How strange is that? We're sitting here slaughtering Spurs, saying how they can't do this, they can't do that. Thomas Frank's doing this. The crowd are getting on Thomas Frank's back. If somebody had said to Spurs, I'll tell you what, on November the 9th, I think it is, in the 9th, you will be sitting third in the Premier League this season, they would have snapped your hands off in a heartbeat. I mean, it's just strange. It feels like everything's a downer, but as soon as that final whistle went, they were sitting third in the Premier League. And he's calling Neto to come over and see him.
He was so mad about that.
He was fuming.
He was so mad.
How arrogant is that?
He did a lot of the work.
Oh, God.
All right, well, Chelsea with this one, 3-0 as Wolves' problems still continue. Who will they get soon to hopefully right that ship? Don, what did you think of this game?
Inevitable that Chelsea were going to win it. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket science to work out when you play Wolves, there's every chance with no wins on the board for them this season, you're going to be, high percentage chance of winning. The one player that, and I say this very loosely, the one player that I sometimes can't stand watching is Garnacho because of his final product, his final delivery. No, I'm saying it for a reason because I thought the kid was outstanding today. And when you see that assist for the Neto finish, when you see that assist for the Neto finish, that's what he has to do more of. He's got to make sure, because he's a winger, he's got to make sure you go back to the olden days, the dinosaur days where wingers take fullbacks on. That's still a possibility. And you see with his pace and you see with the delivery, it was brilliant, sensational. So if you're Enzo Maresca, you say to Neto and you say to Garnacho, when we get the ball wide, you go and take players on because these two have got serious pace. And then you look at the team compared to the Wolves team today that Chelsea started with, inevitably they were going to win. So a brilliant win, and you fast forward 2 or 3 weeks, the big game's going to be against Arsenal. That's going to be their big test.
Were you guys entertained by Chelsea?
Entertained is a strong word here.
That's what I was kind of getting at, but I didn't want to use the word.
Yeah, I don't think it was an outstanding Chelsea performance by any measure, but let's be honest, Wolves are not an outstanding team either. And probably the biggest surprise is that it was 0-0 at halftime. But you just figured Chelsea with the class that they can call on, and Wolves with the season they're having, that it was inevitable. It was going to crumble sooner rather than later, and that's exactly how it happened. But otherwise, 90 minutes that I probably can't get back.
When you're playing against
there it is.
When you're playing against teams like Wolves, all you got to do is score the first goal.
Yeah.
Because then after that,
it just comes.
Well, they're in that position. The position they're in is because of a lot of things, and one of them is that they run out of ideas and fight. And so when that first one goes in, they're not getting back in the game, and it's only a matter of time before you score more. So yeah, Don said crumble.
Well, like I was talking about in the highlights, Stevie, when we saw Estevao come in, and we know exactly how special this is, and of course everyone's saying, don't put the cart before the horse, don't put too much on this young man's shoulders just yet. But when you see the instant impact that he has, he's obviously high on confidence, he has been scoring for Chelsea. Do you think he's ready for a start?
No.
But to start every game?
Because of what they have. Because of what Chelsea have.
Oh.
I'm not starting him before Neto. I'm not starting him before Cole Palmer if he's fit. So, he's going to have to, by his play, get himself in a position where the manager is picking him before, whether it's Neto, Garnacho, Cole Palmer, or anybody else. I don't think he is ready to start. If everybody's fit, I'm playing Neto or Cole Palmer before Estevao. But that doesn't mean that Estevao is not magic. Imagine being able, in a game where you're struggling to break the opposition down, which they
imagine
were.
Imagine being a left wing back.
Yeah. Yeah, imagine being a fullback.
I've seen off Neto.
Nettle goes on. This kid comes on you.
Like,
God.
What have I done to deserve that? So no, I think what Maresca's doing with him right now is absolutely the right thing to do with a young player, and he's bringing him on in situations like today, where he's going to succeed all the time. You're not sticking him on in a situation where you're 2 down, you're up against the best team in the league, and you're maybe not going to see much of the ball. He's putting him in situations where he's going to succeed. So for us sitting back watching him every time he comes on and doing so well, that's when you start thinking, should he start? Should he start? But right now, I don't think he should.
All right, well.
Bayern Munich salvaging a point, but dropping their first points of the season away to Union Berlin. That 16-match winning run coming to an end here. We take a look at what that means. 16 games to start the season in all competitions. That is still a record in Europe's top 5 leagues. As for the Bundesliga winning start record, it was a 9-game winning start for Vincent Kompany's men, just one shy of the 10 that Pep Guardiola, his old manager, managed in the 2015-2016 season. And so the streak comes to an end. I wonder what Vincent Kompany and Harry Kane had to say about it to Archie after the game.
Vincent, a team has earned the right against you, would you say? How was it today? After such an amazing run that you've had, where do you land after this one?
So I'm totally uninterested about the record. I look at this game and the merit of this game. I think the first half an hour we just lacked sharpness, mental sharpness for me more. Just understanding what is the game demanding, landing on second balls, trying to free the ball, and if you free the ball, trying to turn it into an attack, and just staying active as well in possession. So all of this we lacked in the first half an hour. And then the way Union were dangerous was fairly consistent throughout the game, so they, I've had a great time in the championship, so I know exactly about all this, it's down the line, throw-ins, down the line, and then throwing into the box, corners, second balls, and they did it really well. But I would say that after the first half an hour, we did grow into the game. We had some good chances, and we just couldn't take fully the threat away from Union Berlin. But I'm happy with the goal in the last minute. I think it's a great show of character as well.
They make it difficult. They play a lot of long balls. They get set pieces. They're a tall, big team, and you have to fight for every moment. And probably the first 30 minutes were disappointing from us. We didn't quite have our rhythm. They made it tough. After that, the last 10 minutes of the first half, we was the better team. Could have gone 2-1 ahead. And then going behind, you have to find a way to get something out of the game like we did today. And obviously, the winning streak is finished, but overall, we still take a little bit of momentum going into the international break in the manner that we scored last minute.
Do you think Vincent Kompany made it clear that he's totally uninterested in that winning streak there, Ale? It has come to an end. It was Union Berlin. However, as he did mention, they did show that character at the end to get something.
One of the things that Vincent Kompany mentioned there was lack of mental sharpness in the first 30 minutes of the match. It was to be expected that there was going to be a physical and mental letdown from Bayern Munich after what was a very grinding and taxing performance against PSG, particularly in the second half. So it was the responsibility of Vincent Kompany to give this team a fresh look, a different type of energy. Players that perhaps were not stressed from that game against PSG, and if there was ever a time to rotate the team, was today. Well, he didn't rotate the team. And again, it wasn't a surprise that the same players that were struggling in the second half against PSG, that were barely hanging on, that were fighting, that were grinding, today in the first 30 minutes, well, didn't quite find the rhythm that they would have wanted, didn't quite find the energy. It was a flat performance to begin with from Bayern Munich. And honestly, I really think it has something to do with the fact that there is a hangover from what was a taxing performance, as I just mentioned, against PSG, and that you're unable to get excited to play away from home against Union Berlin. Now, this may be a surprise to people, but guess what? It's not nearly as exciting for Bayern Munich to play at PSG in Champions League as it is to play at Union Berlin in Bundesliga. And so that mental sharpness that he's talking about, he could have helped had he rotated the team, and he didn't. They're right. After the 30th minute, there was a different version of Bayern Munich. But that didn't actually translate into clear chances. It didn't translate into an actual overwhelming performance. There was a chance by Luis Diaz after his goal. But beyond that, the rest of it was kind of half chances here, half chances there. And it felt like Union Berlin were always in the game because of the set pieces. I believe the best thing that could have happened to Bayern Munich is get that second goal, create and generate some momentum going into the international break and feeling good about themselves. And now they can just say, look, we were never going to win every game. But this is perhaps not the game that you would have thought about dropping in terms of points. I just think that Bayern Munich in the first 30 minutes, they allow Union Berlin to be part of this story where they shouldn't have been had Vincent Kompany changed the team. When
we talk about chances, you would have thought that there was zero chance that Luis Diaz was going to score the goal that he did. And what a goal it was. Of course, Archie had to ask Kompany and Kane about that too.
Yeah, incredible, to be honest. It was the way he kept the ball in and got past his defender and then scored was... just a special goal, to be honest, a really, really special goal. So, he's been pulling stuff like that out all season, but I reckon that was probably his best goal tonight.
He's obviously the one as well that's one-on-one with the goalkeeper. So, but, his energy throughout the game, throughout the season is giving us a lot. And in these moments as well, he's able to get us goals. But of the chances he had, that was definitely the most difficult one.
Vincent Kompany bringing it right back down. He did also have a chance after that he didn't put away.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate the love, Coach. He's right. He's right. Look, it was a great goal by Luis Diaz, a tremendous goal. And what he's trying to do is I'm gonna find some way to get around this ball so I can find that far post. And there was no way to do it. So he ends up tripping all over himself. And let me just say, it's not ideal when you do that when you're about to finish.
What isn't ideal is you're not on Monday's FC.
Okay.
I say this because King of the Pitch comes up on Monday editions of FC. There has been a long-standing number one goal there that no one has been able to knock off the perch. You are making your case for Luis Diaz tonight.
Well, I am. First of all, because it's an actual 11v11 game as opposed to the West Bengal goal, who seems to be 5v5 playing in somebody's backyard. That in itself should be a case. But the goal by Luis Diaz is something special in the sense that there are so many elements to it. Being able to save the ball, dribble while you're essentially on the ground, and then it's the tightest angle to find. If there weren't a goalkeeper there, it would be hard enough to put it where he put it. But there was a goalkeeper, and he actually hits it over the shoulder of Reno from the tightest angle of all. It is a great finish, and for my liking, it should be King of the Pitch.
It is a 3-1 win for Atleti, another 3 points for them. Another 3 points picked up at home, Metropolitano, proving to be a fortress for them in La Liga this season. Luis Garcia with us now. I suppose we've got to start by talking about Antoine Griezmann. He's eternal, Luis.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what Atletico Madrid has been for quite a few years. Not only what you got on the field, but also the replacement. When you go look into the bench and you have players who can change the direction of the game in just in a split of seconds, is what it makes this Atletico Madrid so strong. And we've been talking a lot about that Diego Simeone can manage to have one and even two teams strong enough to beat any single player of the league. Today it was Antoine Griezmann together with Koke give that fantastic pass to Antoine Griezmann's first goal. But it's about Atletico Madrid believing in themselves. We saw from the first minute that this Atletico Madrid against Levante was not going to have problems, but at certain points there is always going to be a drama. Griezmann has been the one who scored 2 goals, but it's the Atletico Madrid performance overall who won the one who gave an important moment. For this Atletico Madrid, they needs to continue growing, needs to continue solidificating what he's been doing in the last 3 games. I think it's been 11 goals and only 2 conceded, and that's what Simeone wants. A solid team at the back, but also creating chances and scoring up front.
Griezmann robbed of the MVP today, Ale?
Absolutely, he was robbed. Up until that point, the chances were not exactly all that clear. They needed it. Atletico Madrid needed this sort of influence and impact from Antoine Griezmann because it wasn't happening naturally from Alexander Sorloth. Now, what I would say about Atletico Madrid is that you get the 3 points. I think in the totality of the performance, there are some positive, but there are certain things that you have to address and have to address right now. Defending set pieces is an issue for Atletico Madrid, which never used to be a strength of this team. And attacking set pieces, 21 corner kicks, and they never look even close. I mean, even close to scoring a goal from a corner kick. And that was an area of strength of Atletico Madrid in years past. They have to address these things so that they can be more effective, more efficient, and therefore less stressful going forward.
It sounds almost foreign, doesn't it, Luis, to talk about Atleti not being good at set pieces at both ends of the pitch?
Yeah, exactly. We get used to a very strong and in defending set pieces, and now is one of the most vulnerable places that they got Atletico de Madrid in today. Until the last minute, there is always going to be the drama that we were talking, and is that disallowed goal on a set pieces on one of the free kicks on the wide areas. But in corners, I mean, the first goal is a total mess. Everybody is ball watching. No one is defending in the back post. It's Jimenez, the one is looking around, checking all the ball, but never even giving a glance to what is happening on the second post to concede that first goal. But not even that one. In another 2 corners, it was Levante who was creating and almost scoring another goal. So that's something that needs to be addressed, because if you put a good performance, if you score 2 goals or even 3 goals and you're going to drop points just because of set pieces, it's something that really you need to work on. And I think that Simeone is going to mark in those moments, because he used to be a very strong side for Atletico de Madrid, and now is one of the most vulnerable moments of Atletico Madrid during the games.
The next home game after the international breaks in the Champions League, Luis, it's against Inter for Atleti. They're perfect so far, are the Italians, in the Champions League. How do you see it going? What are your concerns?
concern is that Atletico Madrid, when they play away, they always struggle. And they feel so comfortable when they play at home and when they play away. If the game goes to their side, and what I mean is they're going to be very conservative, they're going to be with a low block that Simeone likes, they're going to be thinking about, let's see if in a contest that we can score that first goal who allowed us to get tight and let Inter to come on us. That will be fantastic. But in the moment that Inter, the Milan, the way that they are playing, very aggressive, very going forward, and concede a goal, maybe it's when Atletico Madrid have the most problem. Atletico Madrid at this stage, I think that can beat any player, any team in Europe, and I'm really 100% secure on that. But definitely, they need to score first. If they concede, they are in problems.
More to come on Sunday in Spain, though. Rayo Vallecano hosting Real Madrid earlier in the morning, and later in the afternoon, it is Celta taking on Barcelona. These games available on ESPN+. Alexis, back to you.
Thanks so much, Kay. And let's just say, Ale Moreno, we heard you. We heard you because King of the Pitch is coming up on Monday. And there has been a long-standing goal.
Heard you.
That has been the king. But now the question is, it made us think, guys, didn't it? If that Lucho Diaz goal...
Right. Till Monday. So I won't say...
Because we're back on Monday.
Yeah.
This
I won't
entire
say
crew. But
who I'm voting for.
all right. Well, before I get to Stevie, Don, what did you think? Because you're actually not back on Monday. This Motley crew is definitely back on Monday.
Luis Diaz, amazing goal. It reminded me of Kanu goal that Kanu scored for Arsenal back in the day. I can't take it away from the goalkeeper, though. Off the crossbar and then a volley from what was, all right, it wasn't quite halfway line, but it wasn't a five-a-side pitch. I'm sticking with the goalkeeper's volley.
Oh, Goalkeepers Union has gotten another member in, Don Hutchison. Stevie, what about you?
Well, I've got to say, the goalkeeper's one is all down to him. Nothing to do with poor defending, poor goalkeeping, nothing like that. It's completely down to his skill twice.
Yeah.
On this occasion, the defender, the defender's just a complete embarrassment. And so it basically went like that. After you, on you go. You go. Now, it's a great finish from there, but no, it's not better than the goalies.
Forget about it.
No.
All right. Welcome into Extra Time. Our Don Hutchison is still with us alongside Stevie and Shaka. Let's get into some questions. Thank you, everyone, for sending them in. First one, it seems like Arsenal got punched in the face and didn't know what to do. Well, you did say it was a physical game.
Hold on a minute. They got punched in the face, then they scored 2 goals. They took
goal in
another
the
punch in
extra
the
time.
face and then had a chance to win the game with the last kick. So I'm not quite sure.
That they didn't know what to do.
Yeah. I'll go with the first bit, right?
Don, you were nodding over there. Do you agree with this?
I like how you can try and get punched in the face into a game of football. I quite like it.
Don's a violent man.
I think they did know what to do. If anything, it was a sucker punch, wasn't it, from Sunderland scoring with a couple of minutes left on the clock.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
I'm with Stevie on this.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense.
All right. Well, if we wanted to confuse anyone anymore, the next question is for Don, and it's about percentages.
Boy. Okay.
Don, percentage chance. Don says he was, quote, on comms for that game. Don, you actually didn't even say it. I was surprised. I thought you were going to tell us what you were on comms
He obviously
for.
wasn't.
Mention one of the games today, Alexis.
Chelsea Wolves. Spurs United.
No.
Fulham.
No.
Everton? Oh, no, you did say that.
Everton Fulham.
Oh,
Everton
there it
Fulham.
was.
I was on comms for that one.
All right. All right. And your Toffee's getting a nice little win. One of your 3,500 teams.
Anyway, you know at the start of the show where you said, oh, you were right, and he's like... Can you imagine every time he was wrong, we went, you were wrong.
Oh, no. We beat poor Don into the ground, and I never want to see a sad Don. Ever. Well, wow, he's the popular man today because best believe the next question is for you as well, Don. Don, is Sunderland the new Nottingham?
What?
Nottingham Forest. I suppose with a lot of promise, remember that season that we saw Forest looking like they were flirting with a European finish?
Yeah. Or are they the new Leicester? Are they going to win the league?
Oh, Jesus.
At one
Oh,
point, they
Don.
were second when they were winning.
All right.
When they were winning 2-1 today, they were second at one point. I'm joking. Cool your jets. Cool your jets, everyone. Let's get to 40 points first.
Oh, my days. I only wish Craig were on the show just so he could hear you say that. That would have sent him off in the 4th.
No, you don't.
That would have sent him through the door.
No, you don't.
just
There's
say
no
that.
way you want
You just
Craig
say
on the
that. You
show.
just say
No.
that. You just say that.
We'll just say that. No. All right. Next question for Shaka. Ask Shaka, does he think Chelsea are in the title race?
No.
That's a very Craig Brother response. No. Not even a little bit?
Huh?
Not even in it with a shout? It's still a lot of season left.
Should I give you a Don Hutchison percentage?
Yes, give us some Shaka power rankings percentages.
Yes.
No,
Come on, Shaq.
0.5%.
Come on, Shaq.
0.5, not even in it with a shout.
No. No. If you offered me 1,000 to 1, a Chelsea would win the league,
Like Leicester City.
I wouldn't take that bet right now.
All right, wow.
Oh, I will. If she, I will. If she gives me 1,000 to 1, I'll put £1 on it.
You put $1,000 on it. You put $1,000 on it. Put $5,000 on it. You win 5 million.
No.
And then you can retire. Yeah,
No.
See?
No.
Stevie, you gonna agree with Shaka? And the boys saying absolutely not? Not even in it with a shout in the title race?
Well, you can't say never. You can't say that.
Yeah, you
Here
can.
we go.
Yeah, you can.
Shaka just did.
Yeah, you can.
You can, but I don't expect. I would be very surprised.
Man, you turn politician. Oh, you can't say never, but I'll be very surprised.
Stevie was.
Right?
Couple-
What version of Stevie Nicholas is that?
I know.
Who is that
Oh,
Shaq?
you know.
Who is
Who's that
this?
imposter, Shaq?
Who's
this imposter?
And you notice his shoulders went back.
Right.
His voice dropped a little bit. It's like, you know, the Shaka with his Jamal Musiala voice.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
This is Stevie's percentage.
You can never say never.
You can never say never.
Wow, I hear it. That's what we do here. We make bold statements and get it wrong.
You said.
All right, next question. Dan, as in
Dan's
our
not
Dan.
here.
No, but Dan was known for being one of the best soccer talents in Cornwall at the under-9 level. What? A very pacey striker before hitting his peak at age 11. What were you guys like as young talents? And how early on did you realize that you were a cut above? I never thought that we would have 3 former professional footballers who have played at the highest level, and they would now have to compare their young talent to Dan Thomas. Wow. But here we go. Someone who's won the European Cup when it was that back in the day. Now,
I was a left winger when I was 9.
What?
Yep. I was a jinky winger.
And how did you make the transition?
It just kind of materialised.
He came up against Dan.
Yeah.
He came up against Dan in the Cornwall v
In
Scotland.
Ayr and Cornwall.
Yeah, Cornwall v
With
Scotland derby.
There was a position on the wing for a pacey, dribbling, up-and-coming young talent.
Oh.
And Dan beat me into it, so I had to go play somewhere else.
Yeah, how early on did you realize that you were a cut above? That you were like, you know what, this could be my career?
I don't think you ever really think
No, I
this
don't.
could be your career.
No, but there has to be a
taking a
point where you
fall.
take it seriously, where your parents are actually invested in it, because if not, they'd force you to stay in
Well,
school.
back then,
wouldn't they?
parents weren't invested in it.
Oh, okay. Wow. Thanks,
they
Mom
were.
and Dad. Thanks, Stevie's Mom and Dad.
Well, I tell you what, back when I can only talk for me, but back when I played, hardly any parents went in again.
Aww.
The only reason you wanted them to go was so you could give everybody a lift.
Little carpool. Love that.
Nobody complained. Any parents that did go were just quite happy that you were playing football. They weren't sitting on the sideline. Tell a lie, we had one guy, beg your pardon,
Who sat on the sideline?
a friend of mine I went to school with, his dad used to be a professional goalkeeper. And after we played, he would take him back home and take him straight out the back garden and start telling him what he should have done and what he didn't do and all that nonsense. Yeah. But apart from him, everybody was like,
Play for fun.
What was the score?
My parents used to come to watch me play.
Did you score? Well done.
Aw.
Who are you playing next? So there wasn't any of this nonsense today.
But Shaka's parents
and
used to
My
watch him
parents
play.
used to come. My mum and dad, may he rest in peace, used to come and watch me play.
Oh, bless. Don, what about you?
Nah, they were the glory days when you played for your school team and you're scoring like 6 and 9 goals, or you're just playing well and you're playing with your best mates, but you never believe that you're like a cut above, because the lads that you were playing with, believe it or not, were just as good. It's just sometimes your path and how dedicated you are, you start to see boys that just go on a slightly different path. When they start meeting girls and going out with the lads,
Oh,
they
hello.
go on that little
Aye,
path and yeah. And you stay that little bit more dedicated, I suppose. And then you get to sort of teenage level, then you reach county level. That's when you know you're pretty good when you're playing for your county. But again, it's like you never really believe, because it's like imposter syndrome. It's like you're playing well and you play for your county, but you always believe that the other lads are better than you, are going to make it, or not even that, they just look better than you, more stylish than you. And I come through Redcliffe Boys Club, me and Gaza came through Redcliffe Boys Club and Wallsend Boys Club, where like Steve Stone and Alan Shearer and Michael Carrick and all the Geordie lads came out of Wallsend. You never quite believe you're going to get there, but it's just like fate. I don't think you believe it as a kid or your teenage years. It's when you get into sort of 16, 17, 18. If you can start making it then, that's when you think you've got a chance.
Just remember the story when I was 9. So my school team, everybody was 11. So I was 2 years younger than everybody else. And so when I found out, or when everybody found out what the team was going to be, or the squad was going to be for the upcoming game against whatever school, in the playground, a guy called Craig Fraser, who was the captain of the team, came up to me. So he was 11, I'm 2 years younger, I'm 9. And he said, it's hard, you know. Can you take challenges and people pushing you and all that? I was like, yeah, absolutely. He says, what if somebody kicks you? Can you take that? I was like, yeah. He said, all right. He said, stand there. He said, I'm going to kick you in the shin. I want you to tell me what hurts you. I went, go on then. So he kicked me in the shin, and I was like, ah. He's like, what's that? And I went, that's all right. And I walked away.
That's why we don't see people like Stevie anymore.
Kicked me right in the shin.
Alexis, a little bit off piece, but Stevie, did you play in the Air International tournament?
I did, yes. I did, aye.
Amazing.
Yeah.
One of the best tournaments ever. So, Alexis, when you played for your little boys club, Redcliffe Boys in Gateshead, we went up to a place in Scotland called Ayr, and you're playing against like Ajax, Rangers, like Celtic, like not Liverpool, but some teams down in England, and you're just playing not even county level, and you're playing against all these clubs. It was amazing, wasn't it, Stevie?
Yeah, but you were absolutely shattered, because if you were any good, you would keep playing. And you were playing like 2 games in one day. And then you had to come back the next day and play another game. So by the end, you could hardly walk. People were collapsing with cramp and everything. It was mental.
They don't make them like you anymore, Stevie.
Tell you what,
I'm telling you.
Good job.
The game's gone.
What?
The game's gone. Game's gone. But either way, we'll be talking about that game.
Game's gone.
The game's gone. Everyone's like, the game's gone. But there's still a lot of games to come tomorrow. Remember, it's the big one in the Premier League. Man City up against Liverpool. We'll see if they can gain some ground on Arsenal. We'll talk all about it on the show tomorrow. Please join us then, and thank you for your questions.